from a recent LGBT event that you were at that has drawn a lot of criticism. Let's listen to it.
Wow, what a moving evening this is. I am sitting here listening, watching, absorbing, thinking about Ali, even though I never met him. And with this kind of inspiration, I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Those words have been interpreted as an attempt on the president's life.
Oh,
how did you intend them?
That's absolutely ridiculous. Nobody believes that a 79-year-old grandmother who is a congresswoman and who has been in Congress and in politics for all of these years talking about doing any harm. The only harm that I may be doing to the president is I want him impeached. And those people who are so opposed to my leadership on impeachment are organizing the right wing, the white nationalists, the KKK. They've organized an effort to try and, of course, defeat me in my election coming up and to discredit me. Everybody knows that I'm on the front lines, not talking about any physical harm to anybody, but I am talking about impeachment, and I'm not going to stop.
Welcome back to Hannity. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, he's sounding the alarm about the impact player protests are having on the NFL. He said, quote, "There's no question the league is suffering negative effects from these protests." Jerry Jones is right. Take a look. This is only 2 stadiums this weekend. We can only run 2. One from Miami, and I think the other one's from Cleveland. Look at all the empty seats post-kickoff. Look at this. It's empty. Here's what it looked like in Cleveland, Ohio for the Browns yesterday. We continue now. Former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. They want to keep doing this? If Roger Goodell doesn't want to take a stand, this is the result. I'm not watching NFL games. I'm watching college football now. And I think most Americans are waiting for the NFL to stand up for those that fought, bled, and died under that flag. It's that simple.
Look, I think you're exactly right. I think what the multi-millionaire players who are out there posturing don't understand is most of us watch the game to watch football. We don't watch it to watch political protest. We don't watch it to watch their personal idiosyncrasies. And frankly, they ain't that big a deal in the long run. I think that this has been devastatingly negative for the NFL. I think that the absence of leadership at the level of Goodell is astonishing. I think that the owners are about to decide that their pocketbook is being hurt. And I think when enough of them decide that, they're going to talk to Goodell. But it's really sad. I mean, why should it be so? Just take the last few weeks. 4 young Americans die in Niger hunting down and killing Islamist terrorists. Why should it be so hard to recognize and acknowledge their sacrifice by standing up during the national anthem? I mean, what is the sickness which is permeating our culture, which leads people to believe that they have the right to disrespect their flag, their pledge, their anthem, the veterans, the people who keep them free, the people who keep them safe? I mean, there's something sick about what's happening in part of our culture, and we need to have the guts to confront it head on.
I want to ask you, I want to play for you Maxine Waters. And when I play this comment, I want you to think about it through the prism. Why are you looking at me? Why are you laughing? You're not allowed to laugh at my question. I've known you for 20, 30 years.
No, I'm not laughing.
You're mocking your host.
I'm not laughing
You're
at
mocking
your
your
question,
friend.
Sean.
I want to play it.
I'm not mocking you. I'm thinking about Maxine Waters.
By the way, regaining my time or whatever she said, just went on, reclaiming my time, reclaiming. All right, but this is her saying she's going to take out the president. Think of it if somebody said this about President Obama.
I am sitting here listening, watching, absorbing, thinking about Ali, even though I never met him. And with this kind of inspiration, I will go and take Trump out tonight.
What's your reaction?
Well, first of all, I'm guessing that her reference to Muhammad Ali is a reference to boxing And so she meant it in the sense of hitting in a ring. First of all, let me say, you'd never get it to happen. But the idea of a round between her and Donald Trump is pretty interesting. I think he'd probably win in the opening half minute. But look, what you have on the left, and you see it over and over.
He's not going to hit a
again.
girl, a woman. He's not going to do that. It's not.
Oh, sure. He
would. But
yeah, I mean, if he was confronted with with her,
yeah.
he would be very pleasant until she hit him. And the second she hit him, he'd knock her down. I mean, let's be honest here. This is crazy.
Geez.
I mean, what
I can
you
see the
have on
headline.
the left.
Newt Gingrich encourages Trump to hit Congresswoman. I can see the headlines now. That's not what you're saying.
Now, look, my point's this: the left. I mean, I did this interview with a reporter the other day, and I cut him off, and I said, you know, you have a pathology. I can't answer your questions because you're pathological. And he was totally stunned. He said, what do you mean? I said, you are so anti-Trump
There's no
that you are
talking
not
to you.
in touch with the real world. So how can I have an interview? I think Maxine Waters is in the same group. There's this whole group of people who are so, frankly, crazy
All right,
that
last
they're
question. We'll move on.
certifiably out of touch with reality. Now,
Are you more confident
said this?
that the Senate now will get this tax reform bill done? Because if they don't, they will
I got to tell you.
Yes.
I'm waiting with bated breath for our good friend Mark Meadows and the Freedom Caucus and others to come together, as he has indicated they will. If the House passes this budget this week, and President Trump had it exactly right, if they pass this budget this week and we can move on to, first of all, the Ways and Means Committee marking up a bill, sending it to the Senate, which I think they will do, I think we got a real shot at doing this. As you know, you and I have been on this the whole time for like 8 or 9 months. This is a big deal.
It's huge.
I think I'm a little bit more optimistic tonight.
They better get it done. This is their job. All right, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Congrats on the success of the book.
Law professor Alan Dershowitz has long been critical of the endless search for Russian collusion by Donald Trump's campaign team, and now he's getting called, get this, a racist. Recently, Dershowitz had this to say after it was reported that special counsel Bob Mueller had impaneled a grand jury in Washington, D.C.
The District of Columbia, which is always solidly Democratic and has an ethnic and racial composition that might be very unfavorable to the Trump administration.
All pretty obviously true, but truth is no defense these days. California Congresswoman Maxine Waters was quick to lash out at Dershowitz as a racist Trump fan, despite his decades of donating to Democrats.
He went on to talk about the ethnic and racial makeup of the district as stacking the deck against Donald Trump. Do you think it's unfair to send a grand jury?
Oh, it's absolutely unfair. What he's simply saying, you know, all of those black people are there, and they don't like Trump, and so he's not going to get a fair trial. And so they should take it out of that jurisdiction. It shouldn't be there to begin with. I don't like that, and I'm surprised that Alan Dershowitz is talking like that, and we will not stand for it. We will push back against that because that is absolutely racist.
Alan Dershowitz now joins us. Professor, it is good to see you. Now, I've heard a lot of craziness lately and all these barbs and insults being thrown at people, but that kind of took the cake when you were merely making a comment about the way juries operate, grand juries operate in different jurisdictions. And yet a Democrat now has branded you a racist who's a really very popular Democrat right now. What's your response to this madness?
Well, I learned about jury selection and the role of race and ethnicity in politics from my friend and colleague Johnnie Cochran. And of course, when Johnnie Cochran tragically died, Maxine Waters proposed that Congress pass special legislation honoring him for his great sensitivity regarding race. If I had said that race is not a factor in the justice system, she would have called me a racist. She tosses around that term so promiscuously that it dilutes the term. She hurts her own cause because she's crying wolf. If everybody's a racist, then nobody's a racist. If I'm a racist, then, you know, what is she going to call real racists? I mean, I marched in the South. I was involved in the civil rights movement all of my life, and if she can call me a racist, and as I said in my interview, being black does not give you a license to call somebody a racist, just like being Jewish doesn't give you a license to call people anti-Semites unless they actually are racists or anti-Semites. And for her to use that term when I made an utterly uncontroversial statement, I mean, there isn't a criminal lawyer, prosecutor, or defense attorney who would disagree with the statement that Mueller got an advantage by moving the case to the District of Columbia, that he has a better chance of getting a favorable jury pool in the District of Columbia than he would in Virginia. Everybody would agree with that. It's a simple statement of fact.
And Professor, just a really quick question. Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, yesterday on Fox News Sunday, denied that this was going to be some fishing expedition by Bob Mueller, that it'd have to come back to him and ask for an increased scope in the investigation if they went into issues regarding Trump's other business dealings, other leases not involving Russia collusion. But are you satisfied with what he said, given his own letter, where he said any matter that arose or may arose directly from the investigation? That was in his authorizing and appointing letter of Bob Mueller.
Of course, it's a very, very broad mandate. And let's remember that the Clinton impeachment started with an investigation of financial fraud and Whitewater and ended up with Monica Lewinsky. There are virtually no limits to where Mueller can take this investigation. And, you know, this is Moby Dick and Captain Ahab. He has to find something. He's going to spend a lot of money, hire a lot of people, and if he comes up saying nobody did anything wrong, people are going to say, oh, my God, why did we waste all that money? So he has an incentive to find people.
It's an endless investigation with a limitless budget. Professor, thanks so much.